Stop being kind to men. Start respecting yourself. For far too long, you've been taught that your value lies in how nice you are, how agreeable you can be, how much you can tolerate before finally breaking. You've been told that kindness is your currency, and if you just give enough of it, eventually someone will love you for it. But let me ask you something. How many times have you silenced your voice to keep the peace? How often have you sacrificed your standards just to be accepted? How many times have you mistaken crumbs for a feast, all in the name of being kind? This isn't about turning cold. This isn't about becoming hard. It's about waking up to a truth no one told you. When your kindness isn't rooted in self-respect, it becomes self-betrayal. You were not put here to be someone's emotional punching bag. You were not made to shrink so someone else could feel taller. And you are not responsible for fixing, saving, or healing anyone who doesn't want to grow. Respecting yourself means telling the truth even when your voice shakes. It means walking away when you're being taken for granted, not when you're completely empty. It means setting boundaries not to keep people out, but to honor what you allow in. The right man will not be threatened by your strength. He won't need you to dumb yourself down or stay silent to make him feel like a man. The right man will see your standards and rise to meet them, not ask you to lower them just to keep him around. Every time you choose yourself, you teach others how to treat you. Every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you create space for what does. Stop calling it kindness when it's actually fear of abandonment. Stop labeling your silence as loyalty when it's really avoidance. Stop being so busy trying to be chosen that you forget you have a choice. You don't owe anyone your softness at the cost of your spirit. This isn't about being mean. This is about being real. Because the most powerful kind of woman is the one who doesn't ask for respect. She commands it by the way she walks, speaks, loves, and leaves when she must. Kindness is a beautiful trait. It connects us, heals wounds, and builds bridges in places where walls once stood. But kindness without boundaries is not kindness at all. It's self-betrayal dressed up as virtue. There's a version of kindness that isn't rooted in love, it's rooted in fear. The fear of being rejected, unloved, alone. So we smile when we want to scream. We say yes when everything in us is begging to say no. We tolerate disrespect, we excuse bad behavior, and we tell ourselves that being the bigger person means putting up with what hurts us. But the truth is, that kind of kindness isn't noble, it's self-abandonment. You can't keep calling it kindness when it's actually a habit of self-erasure. You're not being kind when you constantly shrink to make others comfortable. You're not being kind when you ignore your needs just to maintain a connection. That's not generosity, it's survival. And eventually it will leave you empty. Kindness without boundaries is like giving water from a well that's running dry. At first people are grateful, they drink it in, they celebrate you for how selfless you are, but eventually they stop asking if you're okay. They just keep taking. And you keep giving, not because you want to, but because you don't know how to stop. That's not love. That's a silent contract you made with yourself. If I give enough, maybe they'll finally see me. Maybe they'll finally treat me the way I deserve. But that's not how this works. People don't respect you because you give endlessly. They respect you because you know when to stop. They respect you because you know your value and act accordingly. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks. You decide who gets access, how much, and when. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow. If your kindness costs you your peace, it's too expensive. If it leaves you drained, resentful, and questioning your worth, it's not kindness anymore, it's a warning sign. And deep down you know this. You feel it when you leave a conversation that took more than it gave. You feel it when your smile feels forced, when your body is tense, when your heart whispers, this isn't right, but you silence it anyway. You were not created to be a sponge for other people's mess. You were not meant to play small just so someone else can feel big. You are allowed to be kind and clear. You are allowed to be generous and guarded. These things are not opposites. They are allies. Kindness that's grounded in self-respect doesn't make you cold, it makes you powerful. Because real kindness isn't afraid to say no. It doesn't fear disapproval, it doesn't need validation. It knows that love without boundaries is not love, it's dependency. It knows that compassion includes the self. You are allowed to choose yourself without guilt. You are allowed to walk away from anything that asks you to betray who you are in the name of being nice. The world does not need more nice people, it needs honest people. People who speak the truth in love. People who lead with heart and backbone. So if you're tired of being kind and still feeling unseen, start here, draw the line. Not because you're unkind, but because you finally understand that your worth isn't something to be negotiated. You deserve to be kind without sacrificing your soul to prove it. Respect isn't something you demand. It's not something you beg for. It's something you model through your actions, your standards, and the way you carry yourself in every space you enter. People don't learn how to treat you because you told them what you want. They learn how to treat you because of what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you consistently reflect. The truth is, you can't force someone to respect you. You can't convince them to see your worth if you don't consistently walk in it. Respect begins with you. It begins with how you speak to yourself, how you show up for yourself, and how you hold your boundaries when it's uncomfortable. It's in the choices you make when no one's watching, and in the standards you keep when someone's trying to push past them. We often confuse being liked with being respected. We try to earn approval by being agreeable, accommodating, easy to deal with. But respect doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being consistent. You can be warm and respectful without being a doormat. You can be kind without being passive. People respect clarity even when they don't like it. They respect honesty even when it's uncomfortable. And more than anything, they respect people who respect themselves. When you walk into a room with confidence, not arrogance, but grounded self-assurance, you teach people to treat you with care. When you say no without guilt, when you speak truthfully without apology, you set a tone. And people notice, because whether you realize it or not, you are always teaching people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. If you constantly overextend yourself, ignore your needs, and abandon your own boundaries just to keep the peace, people will start to believe that's okay. They'll take your silence as permission. They'll take your exhaustion as normal, not because they're bad people, but because you've shown them you'll carry what they drop. But when you pause, when you check in with yourself, when you choose discomfort over disrespect, something shifts. You send a message not just to them, but to yourself. I am worth protecting. Modeling respect isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up with integrity even when it's hard. It's about not letting someone else's behavior change your character. You don't match disrespect with disrespect. You rise above it. Not to prove anything to them, but to stay true to you. People may not always mirror your respect immediately. Some will test your limits. Others will walk away, and that's okay. Because every time you choose to model respect instead of chase it, you create space for the people who will rise to meet you there. You're not responsible for how others behave, but you are responsible for what you tolerate. You are responsible for setting the tone of your life. And when your energy, your time, and your presence are rooted in self-respect, you stop chasing people who can't see your worth, because you already know it. The ones who deserve to be in your life won't need to be convinced. They'll feel the standard, and they'll either honor it or quietly remove themselves. Let them. Because when you model respect, you don't need to explain it, you simply live it. That's the power of real respect. It's quiet, firm, and unwavering. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't need an audience. It just is. And when you carry that kind of respect for yourself, the world starts to meet you at that level, or not at all. And either way, you win. You don't owe anyone your softness, not your smile, not your silence, not your comfort. Your softness is a gift, not a debt. It's something you offer freely when it feels safe, earned, and right, not something you're obligated to give just because someone expects it. There is this unspoken pressure, especially on women, to always be soft, to be nurturing, accommodating, agreeable. You're told to be easy to love, easy to be around, easy to forgive. You're taught that being liked is more important than being honest, that being gentle matters more than being real. But here's the truth. When softness is forced, it stops being softness. It becomes performance. There's strength in softness, yes, but only when that softness comes from a place of choice, not pressure. When it's genuine, not strategic. When it reflects your truth, not someone else's comfort zone. You don't exist to be digestible. You don't exist to make others feel safe while you feel unheard, unseen, and unprotected. Your emotions are valid, even the uncomfortable ones. Your anger is not something to suppress. Your standards are not something to apologize for. Your truth is not something to water down to avoid being labeled too much, too emotional, or too difficult. The moment you start shrinking yourself to be palatable, you stop being true to who you are. You're allowed to be direct. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to disappoint people who expect you to constantly prioritize their feelings over your own well-being. You're allowed to say no without explaining why. Not because you're cold or heartless, but because you're choosing to protect your peace instead of constantly sacrificing it. When you hand out your softness to everyone, even those who haven't earned it, you devalue it. You start to believe that your worth lies in how well you can soothe others, even those who've hurt you. But you don't owe compassion to people who continuously disrespect you. You don't owe patience to someone who refuses to grow. You don't owe second chances to someone who broke your trust without remorse. Being soft should never mean being silent about what matters. It should never mean swallowing your pain so others can avoid theirs. You are not a peacekeeper for people who thrive in chaos. You are not a healer for people who refuse to take responsibility for their wounds, and you are not a safe space for someone who makes you feel unsafe. Letting go of the need to be soft all the time doesn't make you unkind. It makes you whole. It gives you the freedom to be all of you. The fierce, the bold, the clear, the calm, the vulnerable, the strong. You don't have to be one or the other. You can lead with empathy and still enforce boundaries. You can love deeply and still walk away. You can speak gently and still say enough. The right people in your life won't demand your softness at the expense of your strength. They won't guilt you into staying quiet or bending backward just to make them feel better. They will honor your power. They will appreciate your truth. And they will see your softness not as a weakness to exploit, but as a strength to respect. So stop handing out parts of yourself to prove you're lovable. You already are. Stop softening your edges to make others feel more comfortable. Your edges are there for a reason, to protect the very heart you've been told to hide. You don't owe anyone your softness, but you owe yourself your wholeness. That's the difference. And that's your freedom.
There is something powerful that happens when a person wakes up with a reason to live, not just to survive, not just to pass the time, but to contribute, to grow, to matter. After 70, many people feel like their best years are behind them. They retire from work, and often, without realizing it, they begin to retire from purpose. But that's when the slow fade begins. The days start to blend together. Energy declines, memory weakens, and life loses its spark. What they don't realize is that a purpose-driven life doesn't just add meaning, it adds life itself. Purpose isn't about having a grand mission or changing the world. It's about knowing why you get out of bed in the morning. For some, it's tending to a garden. For others, it's writing letters to their grandchildren, mentoring someone younger, volunteering in the community, or even learning something new. It's the internal fire that says, I still have something to offer. That fire doesn't go out with age, it only dims when ignored. The ones who live long, vibrant lives are the ones who protect that flame. Science backs it up. Studies show that seniors with a sense of purpose have better physical health, lower rates of depression, stronger immune systems, and even reduced risk of dementia. But beyond science, the truth is simple. When you feel useful, you feel alive. The heart beats stronger when it knows it still has work to do. The mind stays sharper when it's challenged. The spirit rises when it knows it's still making a difference. There is a tragedy in believing your role in life ends when your career ends. Your job may have changed, but your calling hasn't. Your wisdom is needed now more than ever. The younger generation is starving for the very experience, insight, and calm that you carry. But if you hide it, if you shrink back and believe you're no longer needed, the world misses out, and so do you. Purpose doesn't demand you be busy every hour. It doesn't require perfection. It simply invites you to keep reaching forward, even in small ways. A purposeful life has rhythm. It has flow. It gives structure to the day. It allows you to look back at night and know, I did something that mattered, even just a little. That's the kind of fulfillment that keeps the heart young, no matter what the calendar says. And purpose changes your posture. People with purpose walk differently. They speak differently. Their eyes carry light. They don't moan about getting older. They stand tall in it. They greet each morning not with dread, but with anticipation. They see every day as a gift to be unwrapped, not a burden to be endured. They are not waiting to die. They are still learning how to live. If you've lost your sense of purpose, you don't need to search far. Start with what breaks your heart. Start with what makes you smile. Ask yourself, who needs what I know? What can I give that no one else can? What story can I share that might help someone else heal? You'll find that purpose is always closer than it seems. A purpose-driven life doesn't mean you never feel tired, lonely, or uncertain. It means you choose to move forward anyway. It means you keep planting seeds, even if you may not see all the fruit, because deep down you know that your life still has chapters left to write. So don't just live long, live full. Let purpose be the compass that guides your days, the energy that fills your bones, and the light that shines through you. When you live with purpose, you don't just extend your years, you expand them. And in doing so, you leave behind not just time, but legacy. There is a powerful truth that becomes clearer as we grow older. The legacy we leave isn't just in what we accomplish, but in how we pass it forward. As we age, it's easy to focus inward, to reflect on the life we've lived and the stories we've written. But the greatest contribution we can make in our later years is not about what we've already done. It's about what we give to those who come after us. The younger generation is hungry for wisdom, direction, and the lessons we've learned the hard way. And yet, too often, we hold on to those lessons, thinking we have more time to share them. The truth is, the torch we carry won't burn forever, and it's our responsibility to pass it before it flickers out. Passing the torch is not just a metaphor, it's a duty. For those of us who have lived through the highs and lows, the triumphs and the defeats, we hold knowledge that is invaluable. But knowledge alone isn't enough. Wisdom comes from experience, and that experience is best shared when it can make a real difference. Too many older generations withhold what they know, believing the younger generation isn't ready, or that they'll figure it out on their own. But time moves too fast for such hesitations. The young are eager, restless, and full of potential, but they are also unprepared for the weight they will one day carry. That weight can be lighter if we step in and guide them. We were once in their shoes, and we had someone, perhaps unknowingly, pass the torch to us. To pass the torch is to give the next generation the tools to face challenges we never imagined and to avoid the mistakes we made. It's about sharing the struggles that shaped us, the decisions that defined us, and the lessons that lifted us. It's about showing them that life isn't always about success, but about resilience, adaptability, and finding meaning even in the most difficult times. It's teaching them that happiness doesn't come from possessions, but from relationships, purpose, and growth. They may not always listen, but by speaking, by sharing our experiences, our heartache, our joy, we offer them something invaluable. Perspective. But passing the torch isn't a one-way street. It's a relationship. It's about listening as much as it is about speaking. The younger generation may seem different from us in many ways, but they share the same core desires. They want to love, they want to matter, they want to leave their mark on the world, and sometimes their way of doing things might be unfamiliar or even frustrating to us, but we must remember that they are forging their own path, just as we did. Instead of dismissing their methods, we should lean in, understand their perspective, and offer guidance when needed. Just as we once had to find our way, they must do the same. Passing the torch requires humility. It requires letting go of control, understanding that the world is changing and that the future isn't ours to dictate. But it also requires courage. The courage to speak up when it's needed, the courage to make ourselves vulnerable by admitting we don't have all the answers, and the courage to let them see our failures and struggles. For it's in those moments that they will truly understand what it means to live fully, to make mistakes, and to rise again. They need to know that we're not perfect, and that it's okay to not have it all together. Ultimately, passing the torch is an act of trust. Trust in the younger generation to take what we've given them and carry it forward in their own unique way. Trust that the wisdom we impart will guide them even if they stumble along the way. Trust that they will honor the lessons even if they don't always show it. We are the stewards of wisdom, and it is our responsibility to share it before the light of our experience dims. Don't wait for the perfect moment or the ideal audience. Don't wait for someone to ask. Speak to the younger ones in your life. Pass the torch because they need it. And because in the end, it's the only way we'll ever truly live on, through the lives of those we've inspired, mentored, and loved. It's easy to believe that the best days are behind us. After all, as we grow older, we often start to feel the effects of time. We see the changes in our bodies, our energy levels, and perhaps our social circles. We may find ourselves longing for the vitality of youth, for the dreams that once felt so accessible. But here's the truth: your best days may still be ahead of you. Age is not a limitation. It's an opportunity to live differently, to pursue new dreams, and to experience life with a depth that only comes with time. We often think of life's peak as something we reach in our 20s or 30s, a time when our bodies are at their best, our ambitions are high, and our futures seem limitless. But what if the true peak of life isn't defined by our youth, but by our wisdom? What if the richness of experience, the lessons learned through failure, and the deeper understanding of ourselves and others could be the very things that propel us into our greatest days yet? The idea that the best days are behind us is a mindset, a false narrative that many people fall into as they age. But the reality is that our lives are filled with seasons, and just because one season has passed doesn't mean the next one won't be even more fulfilling. In fact, the wisdom, perspective, and self-awareness that come with age often lead to a deeper appreciation for the simple things in life. It's in this space that we can find true joy, meaning, and fulfillment. Consider how many things you've learned over the years. The challenges you've faced have given you resilience. The relationships you've built have shown you the importance of connection. The failures you've experienced have taught you patience and perseverance. All of these lessons are tools that, when combined, can create a more vibrant, purposeful life than any period of youth could offer. As we get older, we become more comfortable with ourselves, more accepting of our flaws, and more eager to embrace new opportunities without the fear that once held us back. Moreover, life is no longer defined by the pressure of making it or reaching specific milestones. The expectation to follow a traditional path fades, and with it comes the freedom to explore what truly excites you. This is the time to pursue new hobbies, to travel to places you've always wanted to see, to reconnect with old passions, or even to learn something entirely new. The world is still full of possibilities, and with the wisdom that comes with age, you are better equipped than ever to take advantage of them. It's also crucial to remember that our relationships with others can continue to evolve in beautiful ways as we age. We may become mentors to younger generations, share our stories with those who have never experienced what we have, and offer guidance that only time can provide. The joy of seeing others thrive because of your support, encouragement, or wisdom can bring a sense of fulfillment that is unmatched. These connections, whether with family, friends, or even strangers, add purpose and joy to our days. Your health, too, can be an ongoing source of vitality. While it's true that we may face certain physical limitations, many people in their later years are healthier than ever before because they've learned how to take care of their bodies. With a commitment to proper nutrition, exercise, and mental well-being, you can increase your energy, stay active, and live with vigor well into your later years. The body is resilient, and when we nurture it, it responds in ways that remind us that age is just a number. Lastly, the best days ahead of you may come from the simple act of living with intention, the decision to show up each day with purpose, to engage fully with life, and to embrace every experience, no matter how small, is what will bring richness to your years. It's about looking at each new day as an opportunity, not as a countdown, but as a chance to create something beautiful. So, don't believe the lie that your best days are behind you. Your best days may still be ahead, and they are waiting for you to step into them. It's not about trying to relive the past. It's about creating a future that is just as vibrant, full of possibility, and rich with meaning. With each passing year, you have the chance to redefine what it means to live fully. Don't wait for life to pass you by. Embrace the days ahead, because your greatest adventures may still be yet to come.